Hello, everyone, and welcome to this session. I am going to be your host for this session today. I am Kanupriya Sharma from GMAT, and today we are going to discuss strategies that can help you get to that Q90. As you all know, we will be discussing the strategies that can help you go from basics to mastery in algebra, right? These are the steps that you need to get to that Q90. So we will be starting with the basic step, the first step which is required to get to that Q90 and all the following steps that you would require. So one by one, we will be discussing all these steps. So my question is, if you have to prepare for a race and if you do not know what the starting point and your target is, will you be able to build the required stamina in the most efficient way? The first step is to understand where you are at currently and where do you want to go, right? And accordingly, what is it that will take you to your target score and how you can get there? Do you all agree? This is the basic step that will help you understand what kind of effort is required to get to your target score. And at EGMAT, we help provide this guidance to our students in the form of GMAT plan. So let me quickly discuss this GMAT plan with you, and so that you will get an idea of how this plan can help you. All right, so I'll just share my screen again. So this is how we help our students create the study plan, which can help you analyze what kind of effort you need and what should be your target. So you already what you need to know to create this plan is where you are at currently. You can get your current abilities if you have taken actual GMAT recently, or if you have taken a mock test on MBA.com, or Sigma X mock. The first Sigma X mock, that is the eGMAT mock, is available for free for everyone. So if you want, you can take that uh, mock and get to know where you stand right now. Now, let's start by defining our um, um, target score. Let's say you're targeting let's say 685. All right. And right now, let's say you are at 545 and the source is Sigma X mock. So this is what your overall journey would look like. Now let's get to the sectional scores. Let's say you are not very strong with verbal, but you are strong with quant relatively. Now the system knows that DI will lie somewhere between 71 and 75. All right, so let's provide this information. Now, according to your target score, your current score, and your sectional scores, the system will analyze a lot of. Here you can see the system has analyzed 129 probable combinations that can take you to your target score from your starting score. However, all these 129 combinations are not the most effective ones. So the system has analyzed the effort that will be required for each of these combinations, and it has suggested the most optimal combination to you, right? So you can see, because you are stronger with quant, the system has suggested that you maximize your quant and accordingly increase verbal and DI percentiles. Now you have this option to pick a different target split. You can put in your own values also, but it is always suggested to go with the recommended one. So now we will see the overall what the overall journey would look like, and then we will move to the subsections. So here you can see that this would be your journey in verbal, quant, and DI. And here you can see the rough time estimates that are required to get there. Now, this screen shows the steps that are required to get there. So because you're strong with quant, the system suggests that you start with cementing. So cementing is a stage of preparation that is defined at EGMAT. We have three stages of preparation. In the first stage, we learn the concepts and processes. In the second stage, we cement whatever we have learned. And in the third stage, we do test readiness, right? So when a student is already strong with concepts, the system suggests that they should start with stage two, which is what is happening in quant, right? There you identify that now what are the faltering points? What are the areas that I need to cover? And then you go back to stage one and cover that, and then come to stage three. In verbal and DI, however, because you're not very strong to start with, it suggests that you start with learning concepts and processes and then move to the other stages. Now, these are the rough time estimates. So you have a rough idea of how much effort will be required to finish your verbal, quant, and DI. And these estimates will be refined further. Now, this is the basic step. In order to get to your target score, you should understand what your verbal quant and DI scores should be. Now, in order to get to that verbal score, verbal target score, you need to understand what effort do you need in CR and RC. So you will provide your current abilities in CR and RC, and accordingly, the system will suggest that what should be the optimal target in these subsections, right? So you can see how the problem is being broken down into the basic steps, right? Now, this is the effort required in verbal. Let's come to quant. Again, the same thing, you will provide your current abilities in both the subsections and you will get your target abilities. This is what you should be targeting. And then let's come to DI. All right, so roughly you understand what kind of effort will be required in each of the subsections. Now you will get this overall sequencing. And now let's come to time commitments. So I've been telling you that this is a rough time estimate. So here we will be providing the per day, the time that you can put in on a per day basis. That way the system will understand what kind of effort you can put in on each day. So let's say your Mondays are very busy. Tuesdays, Wednesdays, you can put in 2 hours. Thursday onwards, you can put in 3 hours each. And Saturdays, let's say 8 hours, and Sundays, you keep 4 hours for study. So the system understands that you have 23 hours every week. Now, according to that, if you select the starting date as today's date, the system will be able to tell you that you should be ready. If you follow this plan, you should be ready for the test for your target score in this week of 26th March. All right. And you will get all the detailed steps. So it is not just that you have to score well in verbal. So you should be preparing for verbal. You should go through CR and RC. No, that is not the case. That is not the plan. The plan is actually this, that in order to get to your target, what should be your target score in verbal? What should be your target score in quant? Similarly, at subsectional level, what should be your targets and how you should be proceeding for that, right? So you will get all the detailed steps with the time estimates here. All right. So these are all the detailed steps. You do not need anyone else to create this plan for you. And as soon as you execute your plan, you will be able to see this plan on this calendar view. All right. So, you know, right now, you know that, okay, if I start MC today, I'll be able to complete MC by 6th. And by 7th, I should be able to start with CR. When will I be able to finish CR stage 1? By 19th. And then I'll start CR2. CR stage 2. So you know very well that what you should be doing when. Also, because you may not always follow this plan, right? For example, let's say coming Saturday, you are not able to put in 8 hours. You could only study for 5 hours. So you can update that and the whole plan will get updated. So it is not that you have created this plan for once and now forever you will have to, if you make any change, this plan will not become useless. It will get updated according to that. All right. So let me stop sharing the screen. So tell me quickly, do you now understand that what should be your first step towards that Q90, and how many of you have taken that first step? Sudeep, okay. So your last score was 515. So have you analyzed, have you used it to create a study plan? And remember, study plan is not just any plan, any random plan that is given to every student. A good study plan is something that has been customized for you. It should consider your strengths and your weaknesses, the kind of effort that you can put in. Then only it is okay. So Sudeep, you should be doing that, right? And because that is what will help you understand that what effort do you need in algebra, right? If you do not know that, you'll not be able to put in the required effort. Now, with this, what will be the second step? So you have your plan with you. So what should be the second step now? The second step is to get into algebra. Yeah. So that is what we are going to discuss in this session today. Now, in algebra, what, as I mentioned, you have to learn concepts and processes, and then you have to, get used to solving those hard questions. You have to build your ability to solve those hard questions in the required amount of time. So that is what we will be doing step by step. The first step is regarding concepts. So have you all gone through the concepts for algebra, or are you somewhere in the starting stage? If you can quickly let me know. Because in this first section, I will be giving you feedback on your current conceptual ability. I will give you 7 questions, and one by one, you will be solving those questions on your own. And then, based on your performance, I will give you feedback on how well you understand these concepts. So, have you all gone through algebra concepts? Even if you have not gone through algebra concepts, it's okay. You have that feedback already that you have to go through these concepts. But otherwise, how many of you have started with algebra? All right. All right. So, uh, let's move ahead with that. Okay, that's good, Sudeep. Thank you so much. Thank you, Soma. Now, before I present those questions, I want you to create this kind of a table. I hope all of you have a pen and a paper with you. So, I want you to create this kind of a table with you, right? I will be in the first sprint, I will be sharing 7 questions back to back. So, I don't want you to put in the answers here in the chat. You just have to solve the questions and keep your answers with you. You can take a note of your answers in the table because we will be discussing them later. So you should not forget what answer you selected. So for all the 7 questions and for the questions that we discuss later also, use this table. Take a note of your answer. Later, we will see whether these are correct or incorrect and where you faltered and what should be the corrective action. So, my goal here is to make you understand how you should be analyzing questions. At eGMAT, we give this feedback to our students. The platform itself gives this feedback to the students. However, if you are not a eGMAT student yet, then you should be able to do this analysis on your own, right? So, are you all ready for that? Are you all ready for these questions? Let me start with the first question. So, again, I would request all of you to not put in the answers here in the chat. All right. So, this is the first question, and I'll give you around a minute. And so this is something that we are going to discuss during the session. So and Thomas, I don't think it is that. Thank you, Farhan. All right. So it's time for the feedback that I was talking about. So hope you are all ready to get this feedback. You have your answers with you. So quickly, question number one, the correct answer is choice B. Question number two, the correct answer is choice B. And question number three, the correct answer is choice C. Now, the first question is based on simple linear inequality. The second question is based on two linear inequalities. And the third question, it combines two concepts. One is of linear inequality, and the second concept is that when you multiply an inequality with a negative sign, you have to flip the sign of of the inequality as well, right? So if you got any incorrect answer here, out of these three, if any of your answers is incorrect, it means you need to go back to linear inequalities and revise those concepts, because these questions are very simple questions based on those concepts only. So if you faltered here, it means you do not know how to solve these questions. Arshdeep, these are very easy questions. As I mentioned, this is the basic level, right? Because here you are getting feedback on how well you understand the concepts. We are not talking about processes yet. All right. So after you have created your study plan, when you start with your preparation, this is the first step where you're learning the concepts. All right. So how many of you got all these correct? If you can tell me quickly. Meanwhile, for question number four, the correct answer is choice C. This question is based on quadratic inequality. And for question number five, the correct answer is choice C again, which is based on quadratic inequality, and it combines this concept of multiplication with a negative number. So if you faltered anywhere here, it means these concepts related to quadratic inequality are not clear to you, and you need to go back and revise these concepts. That's great, Vishrut, Prashant, and Arshdeep, Satyam. That's really good. It means you understand these concepts very well. You do not need any revision with these concepts. Let's come to the last two questions, which are based on absolute value. So, question number six, the correct answer is choice C, and question number seven, the correct answer is choice C. These are both based on absolute value inequality. That's really good, Sudeep. So it's really good. It means all of you have your concepts very clear. There's no revision required. If there's anyone who got any of these answers incorrect, if you would like to share, yeah, we'll discuss the solutions as well. I'll discuss the solutions very quickly. Is there anyone who got any of these questions incorrect? Now, this is the feedback. This is how you should be reviewing your questions. When you make a mistake, or let's say you have attempted a question, you got the correct answer, still you should be reviewing it. This is the first thing that you need to check. That do you know the concept well or not, and how do you understand it? By understanding the faltering point. That if you made any mistake in the question, what was the root cause behind that mistake? And that root cause, if it is related to concepts, it means that you need to go back and revise that particular concept. All right. So we have covered this first step, where you have to make sure that you know the concepts very well. And whenever you review any question, an easy question, medium question, difficult question, irrespective of the difficulty level, you need to make sure that the concept that has been used in the question is clear to you. All right. uh, EGMAT students get this feedback automatically. Our quant course is customized for our students based on their performance in some of the quizzes that we have. So we have quizzes, diagnostic quizzes for every module, where we understand student performance, where they are faltering, what are their strengths, what are their weaknesses. So after customizing the study plan, we customize the quant course for them, so that they do not have to go through things that they already know. They can just focus on things that they do not know. From your side, you can do this analysis on your own, right? Whenever, as I discussed, whenever you review any question, whenever you attempt any question, you should definitely review it and understand where you faltered. Now let's quickly discuss the solutions here. So this is question number one. This is a simple linear inequality. You just have to move negative y to the left side and 10 to the right side, and then divide both sides by 5, and you get y is greater than -2. This is about basic knowledge of inequalities. Question number 2, you have these two inequalities given to you. So you can multiply this first one. All right. So you can multiply this first one. Sorry, sorry for that. Yeah. So the first one can be multiplied by 2, and then you can add the two inequalities, and then you get y is greater than negative 2. Coming to question number 3. So you need to find the range of x here. When you rearrange this inequality, you get this negative 32x is greater than 64. Now, if you forget to flip the sign of the inequality when you multiply it with the negative sign, you get an incorrect answer, right? So anyone who has made this mistake, this is the feedback for you, that you have to be comfortable with this concept. Whenever you multiply with the negative sign, you have to flip the sign of the inequality, and then you get to the correct answer here. Question number 4. So we have a logical inference here. When the product of two terms is greater than 0, it means either both are positive or both are negative. And when you solve both of these inequalities, you get this range of x. You can also solve it using the wavy curve method. So the method, which method you use is not important. It's just that the method should be efficient for you. It should help you solve the question in the required amount of time. All right, let's come to question number 5. I think we have a question for the last one. So again, question number 5, because we cannot multiply both sides with x plus 4, because we do not know the sign of x plus 4, that is why we multiply both the sides with x plus 4 whole square, and that is how we get this inequality, and then we can solve it using the wavy line method to get the correct answer, which is this. Now let's come to the last question. Now the last question is based on a logical inference. Here you know that, okay, this is, sorry, question number 6 first. So question number 6, you can substitute x plus 3 to be z. So you and then you can open the modulus, so you get this range, and then you can again replace z with x plus 3, so you get this range, and ultimately you can just simplify it to get x is less than equal to 2 and greater than equal to negative 8. All right, these are all simple questions, so I'm not spending a lot of time. If you have any doubt related to these questions, please ask it in the comments, and I'll answer it. All right, I'm just quickly going through these questions. Now, question number 7. All right, so it is based on a logical inference. Mod of p minus q is equal to a minus b. Now, if a minus b is equal to the modulus of something, it means that a minus b has to be greater than equal to 0. It cannot be a negative number, right? And because it cannot be a negative number, it means that a minus b is greater than equal to 0, which means that a is greater than equal to b. So this is a very important thing here, that you just don't have to apply all the math and all the quant to solve these questions. Yes, these are quant questions, but it just these are not based just on the quant formula, right? You have to, it can be 0 as well, Sudeep. See, Arshdeep, there can be various methods to do that, but you have to find the most efficient one. Just compare this method, the number of steps required in this method, and the number of steps required in the other method that you are discussing, right? Because if you look at the answer choices, these two answer choices are talking about a relationship between A and B, right? So you have to come up with that most efficient method, and these inferences, the logical inferences that you draw when you are solving quant questions, they help you simplify the situation that is given to you, and the question actually becomes easy for you. So inferences, and we'll discuss the same in the next section. uh, these skills can simplify the questions for you. So I hope most of you got these questions correct and the solutions are clear to you. And if there's any doubt, please post in the comments. We will now move to the second section, which is about building your process skills. Now, we, right, so yeah, Vishrut said that he has been making a lot of silly mistakes, and that is a very common problem for all of us. Let me know if you are also facing that issue. Yes, Nishesh, you can try a different approach as well. Just the thing is, in quant questions, there can be various ways to solve that question, right? Now, you can solve it in your own way. However, every time just go to the solution given for that question and compare your approach with that approach. If you think your approach is more efficient, go ahead with that. However, if you think that the approach that is given in the solution is more efficient, it can help you save time, or it can reduce the calculations, or it can reduce the chances of making an error, then do analyze it and try to adopt it. All right. Okay. So I think Prashant has answered my question. Thank you, Thomas. So Prashant has answered my question that a lot of us face this issue that we make a lot of silly mistakes, right? Anyone else who is facing this issue? Because this is a very common issue in quant, and the problem is that it is not easy to understand how we can rectify these issues. That is true, because when you say that something is a silly mistake, you are not getting to the root cause of that mistake, and that is why it is very difficult for you to resolve it, right? You cannot take any corrective action for silly mistakes, and that is why. All right, Sudeep. So what I will discuss in this section is that one thing is concepts. We have already gone through concepts, and most of you are very confident with the concepts, which is a very good thing. The next thing is how you have to apply those concepts, right? So at GMAT, we have defined these process skills. These are the skills that are required to solve quant questions combined with the concepts, right? So along with the concepts, you have to draw logical inferences. We just drew a logical inference in the previous one. So I'll come to that. So in the last question, we just discussed how drawing a logical inference can simplify the question for us, and that is true for all questions in quant, in DI, and obviously in verbal, we do have inference questions, but that skill is helpful in the other two sections as well. If you can draw those inferences, if you can solve the question logically first, the question becomes very easy for you. It gets simplified, right? If you visualize the information that is given to you, you will be able to draw more inferences. You will be able to understand the problem statement better. Constraints, there at times, you are able to solve the question properly, but you forgot to see that x is actually an integer, or let's say x is given to be a negative number. You ignored that, and that is why you selected the incorrect answer. You knew the concepts, you knew the process, but you missed that constraint. And what will you say? You will say that I have made a silly mistake. Now, is there any way to rectify that silly mistake? No. However, if you categorize your mistakes as per these process skills, if you say that, I have missed the constraint, and you update your error log with that feedback that I missed the constraint here, after 10 or 12 questions, you will start seeing a pattern there. That, okay, in the last 10 incorrect questions, if I see, in 8 of them I missed applying the constraint. So that is where I am making mistakes. That is the silly mistake that I am doing. And so the corrective action will be that I will reserve a space on my paper wherever I am solving the question. I will reserve a space where I will take a note of all the constraints. Or I will spend 5 extra seconds to check the constraints again and make sure that I have applied all the constraints. Right? So that is how each of these skills can help you correct those silly mistakes. Because other than the concepts and these skills, there is nothing in quant that you can work on. Right? So with this, let's move to the second section of this session, in which I will be giving you slightly more difficult questions. These are still not difficult questions. I would say these are medium level questions, and try to solve them logically. And again, update. We'll solve one question at a time, and we'll discuss it, and take a note of the answers that you have, that you get, and then we will see where you faltered in case you faltered. All right. So uh, let me share those questions. So this is the first question. So tell me, what is your answer to this question? Quickly. What is the answer that you got for this question? All right, C. Any other answers? Anyone got anything other than C? B. All right. Anything other than B and C? We have two options here, B and C now. Anyone got A or D? Couldn't solve this one. All right, no problem. We'll discuss how we can solve this. So, first of all, tell me, what all values can M take here? If M can take all integers, write 1. If M can take all integers greater than 0, write 2. If it can take all integers greater than equal to 0, write 3. And if it can take all real numbers, write 4. Quick answers. What did you consider M to be? All right. Anything else? 3, 3. Good. 3. That's good. So we have been given that M is a non-negative integral value. So M has to be an integer, and because it is non-negative, it has to be greater than or equal to 0. So is there anyone who considered M to be anything else? If that is the case, that is where you faltered. You did not consider this constraint. Now we know that M is greater than or equal to 0. With this, let's solve these two inequalities. So this is the first inequality. Negative 4m minus n plus 5 is greater than 0, and n plus 5 is greater than 0. So if we add these two, we get negative 4m is greater than negative 10. And now, since we are multiplying with a minus 1, we will flip the sign. The correct next step would be 4m is less than 10. So in case anyone did this, 4m greater than 10, in case that happened, it means that you did not apply. You made a conceptual mistake. You did not multiply. You did not flip the sign when you multiplied with a negative number. So that is the feedback for you. And those of you who got till this point, you can just simply solve it. M has to be less than 2.5. So the only non-negative integer values possible are 0, 1, and 2. Didn't consider 0. So Arshdeep, yeah. So that is where you missed the constraint, right? If you write this constraint specifically that M has to be greater than or equal to 0, you will not miss that. Those who got C as the answer, your answer is correct. And any other option means that you faltered somewhere. So in the table that you created on your paper, I want you to take a note of this, that where exactly you faltered. You did not know how to solve these inequalities, or you did not flip the sign, or you did not look at the constraints, or you did not translate the constraint. That is, you thought that m is greater than 0 instead of saying that m is greater than equal to 0. Prasanna, so have you gone through the concepts, Prasanna? I mean, are you confident with the concepts of algebra? And if you have any specific doubt, you can ask. We can discuss your doubt quickly. Which step you did not understand? All right. Any other doubt related to this question? I hope you have this feedback with you. If you got anything incorrect, I hope you understand very well where you faltered. And with this, let's move to the next question. So this is question number 2. Again, you can solve it on your own, and then we will discuss it. All right. Anyone else? Any other answers for this question? B. So Arshdeep, you have the feedback as well. So Arshdeep, did you solve it again? Was that the case? That's good. B. That's good. So I think all of you got the correct answer. Choice B is the correct answer here. If anyone got choice A, it is related to the constraint. So again, Arshdeep, in case your actual answer was A and then you solved it again, then it is related to the constraints only. All right. Anyone else who got choice A? So let's quickly discuss this. So here we have to find the minimum value of the integer x if we have been given these two inequalities. So we can solve these two, and from each of these, from the first one we get x is less than -2, and from the second one we get x is greater than or equal to -5.5. Yes, Arshdeep. So the thing is, the minimum value for x can be -5.5, and therefore, if you do not notice that x has to be an integer, then you are likely to select choice A as the correct answer choice, which is a trap choice. All right, the correct answer here is choice B. So anyone who faltered here, who selected choice A as the correct answer choice, the feedback for you is that you have to be more careful with the constraints that are given to you. You know how to solve the question, you know the concepts. However, you have to be more careful with the constraints that are given to you. So it's good, Harshdeep, that you realized it. So I think you incorporated the feedback that you had in the last question, and that is how you improve. Just solving questions will not help you improve unless you learn from each question that you are solving. Whether you get to the correct answer or to the incorrect answer, you should try to learn something from each question. And that is how you will improve your score very soon. All right. So the correct answer here is choice B. And again, you can take a note of where you faltered and you can take the corrective action accordingly. In case you do not know how to solve these two inequalities, it means that there's a conceptual gap. You have to review these concepts. Again, this is the concept related to flipping the sign of the inequality. And this is the third one that you did not consider the constraints here. So these are the faltering points. Now, are you updating your table with these faltering points and corrective actions? The table that you created in the beginning, are you updating it? Quick answers. Are these questions helping you understand where you are faltering? What do you think? This kind of analysis will be useful for you? That's really good, Vishrut and Arshdeep. Prashant, thank you so much. So, this is how you have to. Thank you, Sudeep. So, this is what this is the practice that you need to follow when you are reviewing questions on your own. Solve. So, do you want me to show the solution for this one? So, here's the solution. In case anything is not clear to you, please, please let me know. Please ask the specific question. I can explain that step again. All right. So just solving questions will not help you. As we discussed, uh, these are the strategies to get to that high score of Q90. First of all, understand what needs to be done and how that needs to be done. Right. Then come to that to each subsection one by one. Learn the concepts, get very clear with the concepts, and you should be confident that you actually can solve questions based on those concepts very easily. Right. Then understand the processes to solve those questions, and then start analyzing your solutions. Start analyzing and checking where you are faltering or where are you taking more time. Right, how can you make it more efficient? One thing is, you should not make any mistakes when you are solving the questions. If you are making mistakes, you should know where you are faltering, what kind of mistakes you are making. Try to categorize them as conceptual mistakes or based on the process skills that we just discussed. Right, then work on that particular faltering point so that you become more conscious of it when you are solving the questions. You should not be repeating those mistakes. Right, and that is when you get to that high accuracy. The third thing, which is about timing, it comes, you can work on your timing once you are confident with the concepts and processes. The concepts and processes should become so natural to you that you should uh, when they become that natural, they will help you reduce the time, right? And you can take that example. Initially, when someone learns multiplication, it is so difficult to multiply even single digit numbers, right? However, with practice, when they get comfortable with that process, they do not think twice about it. If you have to multiply two single digit numbers, you will not have to think twice, and you will not take a lot. So timing actually depends on your comfort level with the concepts and processes. So if you are facing issues with timing, then find the root cause. The root cause has to be in your understanding of the concepts or the processes. All right, so that is going to be your way to that high score of Q87, Q87 plus. All right, with this, we come to when writing a mock, there's a constant fear of running out of time. All right, Sudeep, you have that fear because probably you have not uh, practiced enough quizzes. It's right after learning concepts and processes, you are not ready for mocks. I'm not saying that you took mock right after that, but taking mocks is the last thing. Right, at EGMAT, we first teach you concepts and processes, then we make you comfortable with those concepts and processes. We have those thresholds defined that you should be able to solve these many questions of this particular level in this much time. That is when you get to that stage of test readiness. And even in test readiness, you have to move step by step. You can solve 10 algebra questions in required time. You can have 70%, 80% accuracy there, no issue. But as soon as you start getting a mix of questions, 10 algebra questions, 10 arithmetic questions, your accuracy will drop. You have a good understanding, but still you are not used to that kind of questions, mixed kind of questions. Or maybe you are not able to retain that accuracy for that long, so you have to build it step by step. And that is why the test readiness plans that we give to our students, they have those steps. Initially they start with, let's say, 10 quizzes of 10 questions or 15 questions, and then they move to that number where you can they get ready for that experience where they can actually work on verbal questions, DI questions, and quant questions in one go. Right, so you can, if you need any help, you can write to support. And let me actually share it with you. If you are EGMAT student, then definitely the support team will provide you all the help, and otherwise whatever they can, they will help you. There are quite many ways to get to the solution, and everyone follows a different pattern, and sometimes it gets overwhelming. So how do we get to choose a method that will suit someone? That is what, Arshdeep, you have to select that method on your own. Right, so as I mentioned earlier, if you are following one particular method, and if you, let's say, you are going through EGMAT course, so whenever you solve a question, you got the correct answer, that's fine. Go back to the solution for that question, right, and see how that solution has solved the question, which method has been used there. Try to understand it and compare it with your own method. At times you will find that your own process is more efficient, and you can go ahead with that. If you think the method that is given in the solution is more efficient, then try to understand it and use it in the other questions. Right, it depends, it varies from person to person. There is no single method that is the best method, right? Ideally, the most efficient method would be the one that does not take you long, and that does not involve a lot of calculations, because with calculations there's a risk of making an error. Right, all right, so you have already solved this question. All right, so C, I think I have two comments. Any other answer? Anything other than C? Thank you, Arshdeep. Ayush and Hetal got C. Any other answer? All right, so I think I'll give you a few more seconds to solve. Right. So let's quickly discuss this solution. We have a variety of answers, and that will make the discussion more interesting. Anushri says D. All right. So I hope there's a lot of learning in this question. All right. So, uh, all right, you can solve this question also, and we'll discuss both these together. All right. So we'll discuss it. We Most of you are saying E. Is there any other answer for this question? E. All right. Anything else? Sure, Ram. I'll You can register at EGMAT, and you will have access to the first mock there. All right. So I think all of you are getting answer as E. All right. So let's quickly discuss these questions one by one. So this is the first one. In this, some of you selected C, some selected D, and some selected E. So we had three choices here. Now let's discuss how this can be solved. And thank you so much, Ram. So, yeah, so we have these constraints here that x has to be an integer and x has to be less than 5. Is there any other constraint? Okay, Anushri, you solved it using wavy line. All right. Is there any other constraint? Can x take all other values? That's great, Anushri. So x has to be an integer and x has to be less than 5. Did you notice any other constraint regarding x? X is not equal to 2. Very good. Because x minus 2 is in the denominator cannot be 0. So x cannot be equal to 2. Now, some of you already have this feedback. Some of you missed this constraint. Yes, denominator cannot be 0. So some of you missed this constraint, and that is why you got one extra value of x. All right, so that is a feedback for you. This is a logical inference that you need to draw, that denominator cannot be 0. It has not been explicitly stated here, but logically you know that x minus 2 cannot be 0, and therefore x cannot be equal to 2. Now, these are the constraints that we have. So let's simplify this inequality. Let's multiply it with x minus 2 whole square. So we have x plus 2 into x plus 3 into x minus 2 greater than or equal to 0. Now, you can solve it using the wavy line method. So for that, you will find out the 0 points. So negative 2 is the first 0 point, negative 3 and 2. These are the three 0 points here. If you plot this, you will see that because we are looking for greater than or equal to 0 values, so it is positive in this region more than 2 and in this region from negative 3 to negative 2. So from here, we get this thing that x is less than or equal to negative 2 and greater than or equal to negative 3. And from this region, we get that x is greater than or equal to 2. Now, we already know that x cannot be equal to 2. So we cannot take this range. We know that x is greater than 2, and we also know that x has to be less than 5. Now, what are the integer values that are possible? The integer values that are possible are from this range, from negative 3 to negative 2, there are two integer values possible, negative 3 and negative 2. And from this range, x greater than 2, there are two other integer values possible, that is 3 and 4. So the correct answer here is choice D, that is 4. Now, those of you who selected choice E, you missed this logical constraint that x cannot be equal to negative 2. And that is why, even though you were able to solve the question correctly otherwise, because you missed this constraint, you got the incorrect answer, right? And those of you who got choice C as the correct answer choice, probably, and you can correct me, you probably missed this range and just counted these three numbers. Am I right? Those of you who got choice C as the correct answer for this question, you missed this one range and you missed this constraint as well. So see how easy it is to understand where you faltered, and you can do that on your own. So this is the feedback that is going in your error log. You included 5 as well. So Vishrut, yes. So this is again, you missed that constraint. It is not less than equal to 5. It is less than 5. All right. So I hope you are all updating your error logs. So by the end of the session, you will have a good error log that can be used to take corrective actions. With this, let's move to the next question. Now here, what was your process for solving this question? Because this question is a good example of different methods to solve a question. So which one should we use? So I would like to understand how you solved it. And then we will discuss how it can be solved logically. And then we will see which process can be more efficient. How many of you substituted the values? Okay, yes, directly. Sudeep. So you substituted the values. All right. Anyone else? And any other process that was used? Yes. Okay, Arshdeep. See, if you do not know how to solve the question and you think that value substitution can help, then uh, how is negative 2 possible? So, Ayan, let's discuss that towards the end. Let's first discuss this question. All right. All right. So, yeah. Uh, yeah. So, if you do not understand, good, Prashant, that is a good inference, and I'll come to that. So, if you do not understand how to solve the question and you think plugging in values can help, go ahead with that. However, during your preparation stage, always look for the more efficient method, how it can be solved otherwise. Because when you are plugging in 5 different values, you have to calculate the value 5 different times. Good, Anushri. Good, very good, Prashant and Anushri, because that is the logical way to solve it, and I'll come to that. So, plugging in values will increase your calculation work, and accordingly, it will make it one thing, it will increase the time to solve the question, and secondly, there's a risk of making a mistake. Right. So that is why I will now show you a more logical method to solve this question, which is Again, it is based on understanding this situation given to you logically, drawing all the logical inferences, and then simplifying the question. So Prashant and Anushri have already used this process. So my question for you all is, um, what do you know anything about y? Just by looking at it, can you infer anything about y? If you look at y, modulus of 3x minus 5 is the numerator, and minus x square minus 3 is the denominator. So anyone other than Prashant and Anushri, can you draw any inference about y? Just think about it. Why is it equal to 0, Vishrut? Sudeep says negative. So y will always be, it will not be positive, right? Let me explain how I can come to that inference. So y here is a fraction. Numerator is mod of something. So it is always greater than or equal to 0, right? The denominator is always negative. So what do we know about y? We can say that y will always be less than or equal to 0. It cannot be positive. Good. It will be always less than or equal to 0. So this is a logical inference that we drew about y, which makes us infer that the maximum value of y can be 0. Do you all agree? The maximum value of y, because the question asks us the value of x for which y will be maximum. So the maximum value of y will be 0. Now, how difficult is it to solve to get the value of x for which y is 0? You don't even have to write it down. For y to be 0, the numerator will be 0, which means that x will be 5 by 3. And that is why choice E is the correct answer. So now I think this solution can help you understand that what should be done, how can you compare different methods, right? There's one process that you used, you substituted values. I'm not sure if anyone else used anything else, but I think that is the other process that was used, value substitution. Okay, Ashdeep. So y, if you look at y, the numerator is always greater than or equal to 0, right? It will never be negative. The denominator, on the other hand, will always be negative. So a positive entity, a non-negative entity divided by a negative entity, it will always be either negative or 0, right? So y will always be less than or equal to 0. Now the question is about the maximum value of y max. So here, from here, you can see that y max will always be 0. And if y max is 0, you need to find the value of x for which y will be 0. Then this numerator will be equal to 0, which means x will be 5 by 3. All right, is it clear now? So this is the difference that logical inferences can bring to your process, and the time that is required, and just compare the level of confidence that you will have when you solve the question like this. Because when you are substituting values, calculating all the values, then definitely you will not be that sure. You can make mistake. There are chances of making calculation mistake. However, when you simplify the question first, those chances of making mistake also reduce, and your time will also come down. All right. So with this, let's move to the last question of this session. And this is again a difficult question. So I'll give you 2 minutes and then we'll discuss this question. All right. So let me know your answers. I have D, B, B, D. All right. Anything else? I think B and D are the more popular answers. B question mark. All right. We'll discuss that, Anushri. Any other option? All right. We have more people selecting B, I think. D, three only. Three only is B. All right. All right. So I think let's solve this question quickly. Okay. So you have been given a condition here, and let me start sharing this. Yeah. So you have been given this condition that 4 is less than 7 minus x by 3. And if this is true, then which of the following must be true? Now, which of the following must be true means something that will always be true given this inequality. 4 is less than 7 minus x by 3. So I'm sure all of you would have started by simplifying this inequality. 4 is less than 7 minus x by 3, which means that x is less than negative 5. Now, if x is less than negative 5, then which of the following out of 1 to 3 are always true? So I can see that all of you were able to easily reject choice A because option A, because if x is less than negative 5, then 5 cannot be less than x, right? So choice A is statement A can be rejected right away. All right, and I don't think anyone has selected it. But yeah, if anyone selected it, then you either did not solve this inequality properly or you did not evaluate statement 1 properly, right? Now let's come to the second one, which will decide which is the correct answer. Right? Is B the correct answer or is D the correct answer? It depends on statement 2. So here it says mod of x plus 3 is greater than 2. Now you know that x is less than negative 5. So it can take values such as I am taking integer values for ease of calculation. It can take values such as negative 6, negative 7, negative 8, negative 9, right? It can take decimal values as well, anything less than negative 5. I've just taken these integer values for ease of calculation. So what will be mod of x plus 3 in these cases? Here it will be negative 6 plus 3, which is 3. Here it is negative 7 plus 3, which is 4. Here it is negative 8 plus 3, which is 5. And here it is negative 9 plus 3, which is 6. Right? Is it greater than 2? Is it greater than 2? Yes, 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 yes. And as we move further, as we take more negative values, we see that this difference actually increases. So what can we say? Will it always be greater than 2 or not? Is it a must be true condition? Yes, Prashant. So all of you who selected choice B, those of you who rejected second statement, do you agree that mod of x plus 2 will always be greater than 2? So where did you falter? Tell me, because it's okay to make mistakes. However, you have to understand where you made that mistake and why you made that mistake. And I think all of you already understand that statement 3 is always correct. So the correct answer is choice D. So from your side, I want to understand what was your faltering point here in this question, in this particular statement, and what you can do to avoid this kind of mistake. Did anyone actually solve this inequality? It also covered x is greater than 5. So Anushri, what you have to see here is that for all values of x, that is for all x less than negative 5, is it true or not? It can be true for other values also, that does not matter. You don't have to solve this inequality. Okay, Anushri, you don't have to solve it. You just have to check it for all possible values of x. Is it clear, Anushri? Reverse engineered. How, Vishruth? Didn't check the validity of option 2. Okay, but that is what you need to do for all the options, right? If you have to be confident with your answer. So, Anushri, the thing is that if x is less than 5, x is less than negative 5, will it be always true? If it is always true, then it is correct. However, if there is any value of x less than negative 5, for example, let's say hypothetical, it is not actually true. If let's say for x less than um, for x is equal to negative 8, if this inequality failed, then it would be incorrect, right? But if in this range, if it in this range, if this inequality holds for all values that are in this range, then it is correct. It can be true outside this range as well. We are not concerned with that. What happens when this value is 5 or 4 or 10? We are not concerned. We are concerned about what happens when it is less than negative 5, when the value is less than negative 5. All right? Yeah, so you don't have to solve the inequality in these options. You just have to see whether this inequality holds for the given range of x or not. All right, that's good. So with this, we have come to an end of this session. So please let me know how was this session and what have you learned and how this session can help you get to your target score. In a hurry, I confused negative 4 as lesser than negative 5, and that gave me negative. All right, Satyam, yeah. So move step by step, right? If this is how visualization helps you. So this is the skill of visualization. If you draw this kind of a number line, you will not make that mistake. If it is something that it is a mistake that you make frequently, then this kind of visualization can help you. And even otherwise, you should try to visualize things that that remove that reduce that chance of making a mistake. Yes, Vishruth. So that is why should have put values instead. Uh, and yeah, so you don't have to solve this inequality, and the more confident you are with your processes during your preparation stage, the easier it will be for you on the exam day as well, right? So yes, it is okay to be nervous. I mean, it is natural to be nervous on your exam day, but there are strategies. I mean, if I let's say if I tell you that I will have a rapid fire round with you regarding multiples of 2, will you be nervous? Or you can compare your confidence level if that rapid fire round is on multiples of 2 and on multiples of let's say 179, right? So the more confident you are with your concepts and processes, the easier it will be for you to overcome that nervousness. Thank you so much, Arshdeep. And I hope this feedback will be helpful for you, and you will be able to apply this kind of, you will be able to do this kind of analysis for all the questions that you solve. So remember, you need to start with a proper study plan, a study plan that is based on your strengths and weaknesses. Understand what you need to do and how you need to do that, and then work on your weak areas. Not just weak areas, build all the concepts, learn all the concepts. If there's any specific weak area, then work on that, work on the concepts, processes, and then get into that mode of test readiness where you can you know uh, build that accuracy, and then work on retaining maintaining that accuracy in that test environment. Thank you so much, Prashant. Thank you so much, Sudeep. So 9.6 minutes on question 2 of GMAT, which made push through the rest. Yeah, Vishruth. So that is natural. If you spend that much time, so that is a decision that you need to make, that when you should, get done with the question. All right. So thank you so much. I wish all of you good luck for your preparation. And I am really hopeful that you will apply the feedback that you got today. You will apply that on all the questions that you solve, and you will strategize your preparation accordingly. Thank you so much. Happy learning.